Alright, everybody, it is time to talk about Dragon Ball Super.
Dragon Ball Super, Episode 2.
Yep, an episode that I did say last week, guys. I did say I was gonna have a live reaction this time. I had a live reaction last week, but it got lost. And I'm like, I'll definitely have it next week. And then I did it, and I'm like, this is really not worth uploading. Even though I didn't think it was a bad episode, I just didn't react to much other than the beginning.
Oh, well, laughing at just Vegeta's pain and suffering.
Yeah, where he's just standing on the friggin' ship like a badass, just going through everything, and then coming out
And
with a durian fruit, meaning Dodoria, and a frickin' I think it was like a Zaba fruit for Zarbon. Like really nice throw there.
what's no? I thought he had an octopus on his head.
Well, when he came out of the whole thing, he had like the two fruits sticking out of his head. One of them was a durian fruit, which could be a reference to Dodoria. And the other one was like it was like called like a Zaba fruit or something like that, which is a reference to Zarbon, aka two of the freaking Frieza villains that he killed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Anyway, but yeah, and I love how Bulma was just like, here, if you want to train, here's some training. Let's go through the water. And let's fly through the water and, all this other stuff so you can sort of train because you're holding on with with your key. What is this freaking Naruto? Hold on to things with your chakra.
right.
Like, and it was just. I also liked how this particular episode was actually a callback to the promise he made to Trunks at the end of when he was training with him at the end of the series, saying, "Okay, I'll take you." Well, of course, I don't know that might have been how it was said in the Japanese dub, but if I remember correctly, in the English dub, he didn't say amusement park. He just said the park.
Yeah, he said the park in the English dub. I don't know about Japanese, so.
So and it's not so, but at least for the purpose of this episode, they're saying that they said amusement park, which makes more sense but whatever. Who cares? It's funny just to watch Vegeta just try and act normal with his family on a vacation when he totally isn't.
Oh yeah.
So, and then you see Goku training on King Kai's planet, which is funny because it's King Kai, And
Yeah.
I also learned something, and also through the review of this episode from somebody else, I actually found out something interesting. I did not realize that Greg, the cricket, was a filler character.
Oh yeah.
And since technically Super is supposed to be considered canon, it means that Gregory is now canon.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Apparently you did.
Yeah, there was yeah, I did know that. And one of the things that like it just kind of stuck out to me was the fact that the reason he went to King Kai's planet was because of the gravity, and I'm like, on the same freaking Earth, you have Vegeta who can go up to 500 times gravity. I'm like, that's not even fair.
Why are you training in 10 times gravity when you could well, no, Vegeta wouldn't let him anywhere near the
I know.
strict
That's the
gravity
only
training.
thing, but still, it's like such a crazy gap in terms of gravity training. No wonder Vegeta does what he does in Battle of Gods. I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah, because Goku is already stronger than Vegeta, so it's like, well, Vegeta. Yeah, does seem kind of weird when you think about it, because I mean, you would think that Vegeta, with all his gravity training, would have surpassed Goku at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't take till Battle of Gods to technically do that, but you think he would after X amount of time.
Well, according to people who've seen Resurrection of F already, claimed that it's perceived as that the events of Resurrection of F make them now equal in power. supposedly, but
Okay.
since we haven't seen it yet, we don't know. And then of course we also know it's going to be immediately retold as a saga in Dragon Ball Super.
Right.
So it's like, what else are they going to change it so that way Goku ends up still being considered stronger? Who knows?
Maybe.
There's a lot of questions, that we would love to know the answer to, but still, like we said, this is only the second episode of Dragon Ball Super.
Right.
So there's still tons of stuff. We still got 98 more episodes left. So, since it was said that it was already licensed for 100.
Right.
So, and based on the episode titles of the upcoming episodes, it looks like we're going to get to the battle Goku versus Beerus fight pretty quickly.
Which is good.
I also enjoy, because that means won't spend too much time in this Battle of Gods arc, saga, and which means we might spend just as much time, maybe give or take an episode or two, on the Resurrection F saga, and then we'll have plenty of time to really go deep into the bowels of Universe 6 for that saga.
Right.
Because I want as much, good stuff on as possible from that, because there's so much potential. But as in terms of this episode, there's still lots, it was still very simple. I mean, we saw Beerus again, and this time he destroyed an entire planet. And apparently the explosion of the planet caused him to remember his premonition of the Super Saiyan God. So, or I don't think he actually said it in this episode, but he remembered it or something.
Yeah, he only knows the name. He didn't see the person, though.
Well, no, he didn't see a person. He didn't see a person in his premonition in Battle of Gods. He just remembered having the premonition about fighting someone called the Super Saiyan God.
Oh, yeah. He did remember it in this episode, I believe, at the very, very end.
So the question then, now there's a lot. This is where things are going to become is what we're curious about. What if at all is going to be different about this scenario? I mean, so far it looks like they're setting it up where Bulma's birthday party is going to be on a boat instead of at her house.
So
that's one difference, but what else is going to be different? Are we still going to get those funny scenes with Vegeta trying to keep Beerus happy? Because those were hilarious. And are we going to also get the whole scene with Vegeta, where Bulma gets hit by Beerus, and Vegeta's like, don't, or is it, you hit my Bulma? And then gets a quick power boost and to try and take on Beerus, but then gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
That was also funny, especially when Goku, mocked him about it.
I mean, that was the best scene in the entire movie, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, plus, one of the other things that people are most concerned about when it comes to possible changes is, well, for one thing, is Dragon Ball Super going to be in the same timeline as the original series, or is it going to be a separate timeline? Because if so, that means Videl shouldn't be pregnant yet.
Right.
If that's the case, then that means who are they gonna have as the sixth Saiyan to perform the ceremony to make Goku a Super Saiyan God? Or are they going to change it so that way you only need 5? Who knows?
Good question. I don't know.
There's tons of other theories going around about, maybe, Vegeta's brother will be there, since he was in a special and then briefly mentioned in Battle of Gods.
Yeah.
I mean, who the hell knows?
Yeah, it could go any which way at this point, so just gonna have to wait and see, I suppose.
But so far, I have to say is that Dragon Ball Super's doing pretty good so far. You know, it wasn't a terrible episode, but it was I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the episode. Vegeta
You know,
being
because
my main character, but.
yeah, well, because the reason why I have to refer to this is the reason why I have to say this because or should I say it like that is because there's a certain somebody whose name shall not be mentioned, Azius, who thinks that it's just that Dragon Ball Super is going to be shit because he feels that Kira Toriyama has pretty much not only has he does he feel that he and that he won't produce a good series.
Mm. Yeah, I don't really have high hopes for Super, but I'm going in with an open mind at least, so.
Well, I'm going in hoping that it's hoping Toriyama is actually involved in it this time, that it will be better than GT.
Yeah, I think it'll be better than GT. Um, but I don't. I
But
just don't know how good it's going to be at this point. Um,
yeah,
I don't know.
and, but in reference to the whole thing with AZX, the problem with his point of view is that he's pretty much not open to any new content in the Dragon Ball universe.
Mm.
He would rather just see them go back and reanimate the entire series in the style of Dragon Ball Z Kai,
Right.
which would be a complete and utter waste of time. And it'd be like, well, wait, you are complaining about of new content possibly being bad, probably due to the fact that GT was bad. But the fact of the matter is you'd rather them just once again cycle another going through the series again and just re-releasing it again. Because I mean, they just recently, within the past year, finished releasing Dragon Ball Z on Blu-ray.
Did
So
they?
it's like, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and Dragon Ball Z Kai is should be at this point have already finished, I believe,
I don't
the
know.
Gods Saga. So that should be coming out in English dub within the next year. So it's like, okay, well, we just got done Kai, part 3 of Kai. And we already had parts 1 and 2 done a while ago. So it's like what the hell are you expecting? Like, do we really need to? And plus, on top of that, we've had the Dragon Ball Z video games come out like almost every year, retelling the story of Dragon Ball Z a million times. Like, Dragon Ball Z, don't get me wrong, the Dragon Ball series as a whole is an amazing series that I could watch again and again. But the problem is that I'm not gonna sit there and watch all of Dragon Ball, all of Dragon Ball Z, and then watch all of Dragon Ball Z Kai right immediately after. Watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, and then watch the blue, and then go through and watch the Blu-ray release. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. I feel like we're starting to get, as fans of Dragon Ball, we're getting fatigued with the same content over the same them just re-releasing the story over and over again, whether it be in the form of a newly remastered version of the original, or by through Dragon Ball Z Kai, or the millions of video game, or not millions, but hundreds of video Dragon Ball Z video games whose story modes are pretty much, hey, let's go through the story you've seen 1,000 times before.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like in that respect we're getting fatigued, and GT was not nobody virtually nobody liked GT as a continuation. Yes, it had some interesting concepts, but overall it was bad. So people wanted more content, new content,
Hmm.
because like if we had, it's one thing if we hadn't been getting a lot of Dragon Ball Z video games like every friggin' year. Some movies recently, the two movies recently, and it's just I feel like there's actually a sense for those us longtime fans. We're kind of getting franchise fatigue here. I mean, but unlike most situations of franchise fatigue, we still keep going. We still keep watching. We still keep playing the games and all that. But I mean, deep down, we desire something new from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, have you seen how many different fan fictions about Dragon Ball Z have been made?
Yeah, I know.
So that's just proof that people want more from the series. They want to see more expansion. Like honestly, like one of the major things I always wanted to see from a Dragon Ball Z continuation was a clear and cut, showcasing of a new generation being properly prepared to take the mantle off. Because at the end of Z, Trunks was became the CEO of Capsule Corp, so he wasn't doing much training. Goten was spending most of his time worrying about girls. You had friggin' Gohan who stopped training to continue on being a scholar, so he wasn't getting any. He was getting weaker, and Pan was only 4 years old. Bola was not a fighter. Is not a fighter, and at the end of the series, Goku went off to train Oob, and since GT is not canon, we don't know what the actual result of that would have been if from Akira Toriyama's point of view, or should I say, Akira Toriyama never wrote how that ended, so we don't know exactly how that went. I mean, so leaving the series at the end in the last episode, it kind of sort of felt like, okay, well, it doesn't feel like there's a way like Goku and Vegeta could, quote unquote, retire slash, rest in peace if when they die. No, because who's gonna protect the Earth? Nobody. So that's one of the things I want to see from Dragon Ball Super is that by the end of the series, we can clearly see that the next generation of protectors of Earth is clearly, you know, ready to take the mantle, as opposed to Goku. I'm not saying they have to defeat the final villain of the series, but I would like for there to be a definitive showcase that yes, there is a new generation of young heroes who is going to take over for Goku and Vegeta so they don't have to be the ones fighting all the time because they're going to be they should retire because they can't be around forever, which is why the whole reason why Goku trained Gohan, but Gohan, of course, that never panned out because Gohan had to become a scholar.
Right.
Which is even more which surprises me even more when the fact that Goten ended up becoming as lazy as he did, because Goku was actually there to train him.
Yeah.
So it just seems very odd. So I think that's just about it. I mean, the episode was enjoyable. So
Yeah. I guess that'll about do it. I mean, the episode was enjoyable. We haven't really gotten into the heart of things yet, so I guess we'll just have to wait for everything to just build up and work out on its own, I guess.
Mm-hmm.